All right, everybody, I'm Lindsay Labonte, and you're listening to Real People Real Estate, where we sit down with people right here in Western Massachusetts who are doing awesome things in real estate. Anybody from investors to developers to maybe even economists or politicians who know a lot about the market. We want to expose the opportunities here and also the challenges that people face, and we hope that you will be motivated to plant your roots right here in Western Massachusetts as well. So Brian Megliola with Coldwell Community Realtors and many other
others.
Yep, companies, other outfits, other things going on.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But as a quick bio, so you got into real estate originally what year?
2009. I started working at a real estate company in Worcester, actually.
Oh, wow.
Ironically, a Coldwell banker.
Okay.
Corporate-owned one.
2009. So you were like, what, maybe 15 at that point?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm trying to remember. Let's see. So 2009.
You don't really have to tell us how old you are.
I was just saying, it was probably about 4 or 5 years out of college.
Okay.
I was working at a driving school, teaching advanced driving school, and
wow.
the family business was real estate, and
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of get my toes wet with real estate,
Yeah.
and I was in Worcester, had a great opportunity to join the branch in Worcester, and I really felt, I knew sort of my roots were going to
Yep.
bring me back to Western Mass.
Yep.
My mother had started the company in 1985. And the internet was just starting to get kind of big,
Yeah.
so she was very nervous about what the next steps looked like.
Yeah.
And so I knew there was sort of a desire for her to have me come back.
Yeah.
And so I got my feet wet in Worcester. I wanted to make sure for my own confidence that I had experience in real estate and
Yeah.
was working at somewhere else, and it wasn't just come home to the
Sure.
family business and
Yeah.
take it over. I wanted to
Figure
know
out
what
if
I
you
was
really
doing.
liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure I liked it, but I also want to be grounded and have my own sort of base of how
Yeah.
I looked at real estate and
Yeah.
what my vision of it was.
To bring into it. That was 2009, you said?
Yeah, yep, 2009,
So
2010.
fast forward to today,
Yeah.
where you have not only joined this family business, but taken it over and morphed it into something completely different. I mean, don't get me wrong, your mom, of course, is amazing, did an awesome job, but like this is a whole new level. So
Yeah.
tell me about all the other entities that you've brought in.
It started, I'd say about 6 years ago. We were actually at a Coldwell Banker convention in Texas. And there was a gentleman on stage who worked for a local shelter. And he hopped up there and was talking about how important home is.
Yeah.
And that's where I really started to, I'm getting goosebumps. That's where I really started to see the value of home ownership.
Yeah.
He was talking about the strength of communities. When you have high home ownership, you have people who are involved in the community, you have tax, you have generational wealth, and all of those things then keep streaming out, right? Like generational wealth results in higher education.
Right.
So home ownership is so important. It's the core of
Yeah.
a community.
Yeah.
2021, we changed our name to Community Realtors.
Yeah.
Community really was the center of what we were doing.
Yeah.
So this gentleman was on the stage and he said, "I want you to think of the worst moment of your life, the hardest moment. Now think about who that person was, who was next to you, who helped you get through that."
Yeah.
And that was sort of like our moment. Pam, our marketing director at the time, and Rick Davitt,
Yeah.
a longtime Western Mass realtor.
Yeah.
We both sort of looked at each other and we were like, we wanna be that person to help people in the community
Yeah.
get to home ownership.
Yeah.
So we set out on a 5-year plan to really build out a bunch of different companies that could help support a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And we started with property management. I knew Rich Matowitz for a long time, who owned Hampshire Property Management
Okay.
Group.
Yep.
Started knocking on his door and said, "I want to get into property management."
Yep.
He said, "Good luck."
Okay.
3 years later down the road, we partnered with Hampshire
That's
Property
awesome.
Management Group, and we took over that company. We saw a need for maintenance, though, when it came to property management. The downside to having maintenance for a property management company is you don't know when you're going to get phone calls.
Right.
So we looked into the renovation industry, the home flipping
Yep.
side. Some people call
Yep.
it home. I call it investing because we're investing in
Sure.
the properties, community, people.
Restoring, bringing
Restoring.
the inventory back to the market.
Bringing it
Yep.
back. So we looked into different franchises and opportunities in that market, and we found Homevestors, which I thought was a phenomenal one. They really had a great backbone to truly wanting to help people out of ugly situations. Death in the family, foreclosures, all these bad things. They really wanted to be able to help get people out of that thing. So I thought they were a phenomenal group. So we purchased a franchise of Homevestors. So we sort of had that property management one. We had the maintenance company, which we've evolved now into a full company with about 8 to 10 people.
Wow.
Called Home Managed. And the home investment side, the home investor side, gave us the ability to have projects that our maintenance guys could go work on.
Right.
So
Gave them steady
we created
work.
8 to 10 jobs where we can keep them busy 40 hours a week, and without that, the not knowing when the next call is going to come.
Right.
It also gave us better, high quality people.
Right.
So that was sort of this evolution, and again, our end result was, after being at this event in Texas, was to try to get a nonprofit. Originally we just thought, we want to help people buy houses. That's the cure.
Right.
But looking into it now, we have so many great nonprofits in our area. Valley CDC, what Alexis is doing there is amazing.
Right.
So we didn't want to also, we found a niche in there where we can help people get into homes who wouldn't normally get into homes. So it's not always just a financial thing.
Right.
You've got a lot of first-time home buyers. You work with first-time home buyers all the time. Some of them go into a basement. They don't know what a furnace is, how to take care of this, the expense of mowing, plowing, all these new things that are barriers to home ownership.
So you have the real estate business, you have the property management business, you have the home maintenance business, you have home investors for restoring properties, and then you've created this amazing Leo's Home nonprofit organization.
Yeah, Leo's Home, we found a niche in our market that wasn't being covered, where it was helping people with the maintenance side of houses. This is a great thing that we've been able to do. We've helped a couple clients already who, income-wise, couldn't make some major improvements to their homes. Knob and Tube was the first one that we did.
So they already own their homes.
They already
and then
own their
you're
home.
able to go in and help.
I'll talk about Wendy for a second. Wendy was our first client of Leo's Home. I actually got the phone call from her through our investment line. She actually called in saying she needed to sell her house for cash because she just didn't feel like she could maintain the home. She's 82 on a fixed income. So it was a challenge for her. And this is where all the companies sort of came in together and it worked really well. So it came in on the home investor side. Did not see that was the right thing to do. She really every time we walked around the house, she'd show me, I love this about the house. I love this. I don't want to sell the house, but I can't. So we were able to take Leo's Home, go through, find grants, find some money available. We did about $25,000 worth of work to her house. It cost her $2,000 or $3,000, and we got her onto a 0% interest loan. She's been in the house for 2 years now. And she's starting to realize, I'm not using the upstairs. And she has a house now that she wants to be able to turn over to a new family up in Greenfield. And we're going to be able to help her on the real estate side to sell that. She wants to utilize the nonprofit, try to find someone who needs an affordable house. And then she's going to use one of our realtors to buy a condo. So it's this full circle moment of all those businesses coming together. And we built all these brands to be able to support Leo's Home so that we can help people achieve homeownership, either get into homes, maintain homes, et cetera, which is a niche that I think we found in the area. So.
And how empowering is that to the homeowner too, right? Where she called you thinking, I'm going to have to sell my house. I have no other choice, right? Because if you get to that stage, I mean, imagine how maybe helpless that feels. And then you were able to really turn it around and now potentially provide a viable house that's in great shape. I mean, I don't know about you, but maybe it's just being in the industry. When I'm driving around, I just notice as I drive by houses, I mean, every 1 in 5 or 10 houses looks pretty significantly deferred maintenance. But now more than ever in this economy, I mean, people have to make those choices. So you're solving that need. That's huge.
House prices have skyrocketed. Maintenance and repair and construction costs have skyrocketed. There's a whole generation, our oldest generation right now, are sitting in homes that they're having a hard time maintaining. And they're on fixed incomes. So there's this huge niche, and that's really important for us. And again, our agents at Coldwell Banker have been able to take these extra products that we have to provide value to their clients. We had a closing in Turner's Falls the other day. Same thing, knob and tube issue. It was going to make it a challenge to close. They qualified to be able to have some of this assistance, and we were able to do the knob and tube.
Fix it for them before. That's huge.
Get it right before. And we work with some great, we have all these great electricians and plumbers and hardworking people in our area that want to help as well. Brent Morin from Morin Electric was able to go in there and do a lot of these jobs at cost, and that's his way to give back to the community. So there's a lot of people in our community that want to help. And
you're this conduit now to be
able
to do that.
Now we're a conduit to do that, Because on the property management side, we bill about $5 million worth of repairs a year with local contractors. And they all want to be part of this.
Yeah.
They want to be able to help provide their services, and
Sure.
Leo's Home also gives us that platform to help our clients of
Help
Coldwell
them get
Banker and
that.
Hampshire Property Management Group to have some of this assistance when they need it.
That's
so
awesome.
It's really great.
It's like you have a whole coalition of service
truly.
providers that are
Yeah.
willing to do that.
I mean,
That's
think
really
about
great.
think about all the emails or phone calls you get, especially as a real estate company. The realtors sort of become this conduit too to local
Yeah,
providers.
definitely.
We constantly have clients calling us saying, "Hey, who's a
Yeah.
good plumber?" Or if you read in a Facebook group, how often do you see a town
yeah,
one at 2 a.m.?
definitely.
Who's a good plumber?
Yep.
So what we try to do is give all of our clients through our home managed, our maintenance company. We actually have a new product with them called we call it home managed subscription maintenance.
Okay, yeah.
So for like a small monthly fee, that puts you sort of into our network.
Yep.
We send a handyman to your house twice a year to do 2 hours of
Yep.
work to help fix those little things that need to get done.
That's huge. So it's a subscription essentially for any maintenance or access at least to any typical maintenance.
Yeah,
that
and
need.
you get our 24/7 emergency line. So at 2 in the morning when you're trying to figure out who a good plumber is, you call this one number. We already have 5, 10 vetted plumbers that we're
Wow.
going to get someone over there for you. So it takes,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes again with Leo's Home is being able to
Yep.
help people. And Leo's Home is going to provide some of these memberships to income qualifying
Yeah.
candidates. So we can get you into that house. Our realtors can help get someone into a house that may have not wanted to do it before because they didn't know how to take care of things.
Yeah.
And now for a small monthly fee,
Yeah.
we can take care of everything.
Yeah, that's huge, and it's almost like in a condo association where you do have access to the property managers, but this is for
homeowners.
potentially
And
anybody, single family. Yeah.
And that's actually sort of what we thought.
Okay.
Being in the property management side of things now for a few years, I sit in these condo association meetings, and if you own a condo, people know it's a challenge politically, and you've got noise, and you've got this, and you've got that. So we're really trying to deliver a condo experience, but for a single family home. So those people who do again have that challenge of homeownership and want that condo environment where everything's taken care of, we come in, we've got landscaping contractors, we give you a fixed price.
Yeah.
We look at your landscape, your plowing, your air filters, your water filters. We take what that expense would be for the whole year and we divide it by 12, and that's your monthly fee. And it's
Wow.
about the same as what a condo fee would be.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, so
for
we're doing
those
that exclusive
listening-
right now for Coldwell
that's-
Banker.
Okay.
Community.
I was gonna say for those listening, how do they? So it's got to be exclusively through.
Yeah, right
Coldwell
now it's
Banker.
for clients
Yep.
of Coldwell Banker Community Realtors.
Yeah.
We certainly will expand on that in the future, but right now we want to provide really good quality service.
Yeah.
So, and we also want to, for our agents who are out there working,
Right.
I think it's important for them to have
That's
a
huge
product
incentive.
that really adds that value
Yeah.
of what makes them different than the agents in our area.
That's great
So-
for retention and recruiting. So what was the impetus of this? I mean, you mentioned you were at a conference. Was that the start of it? Because this is a huge, I mean, you've created this umbrella experience, which is especially the magnitude of it here in Western Massachusetts, right? Where people think, oh, we're just such a small town. I mean, this is like a city initiative that you've got going on here.
Yeah, no, community, I still get goosebumps. It's community really is the heart of what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the middle of our name. And it's so important. And what community does is it increases everything, like we talked about, education, everything. So it really is the center of what we do. And we want to be a big part of our community. We want to be able to give back in that way.
Yeah.
And this umbrella, I mean, it's 5 or 6 years, but all of it was to help build the tools to be able to make Leo's Home successful. And as you said, Western Mass, there's a lot of stuff going on here.
There's a lot going on.
I've gotten into industries I'd never thought about.
Yep.
The property management side of things. There's so many great condo developments in our area.
Yeah.
The amount of contractors that
Yeah.
are needed to support. There's so
Our
much
area,
opportunity here, even in the home investing side.
Right.
There's a huge group of Western Mass real estate investors.
Yep.
I know I saw you at one
Yep.
of the last meetings down in Springfield at the Country Club. There's so much opportunity. I mean, there's so much opportunity in Western Massachusetts for all avenues of real estate, whether it's helping fix, build, invest, all of that stuff.
So what do you say? So the opportunity is great. What about the challenges? I mean, every day I speak with people who are, I would say, the typical folks that are living here in Western Mass, maybe born here, raised here, collectively make $100,000 a year between 2-income household, and they're trying to buy a house, and it's challenging, right? We've seen property values go from upper 200 6 years ago to 450 to 500 now. What do you think about the landscape, about the inventory, and whether we're going to see any type of a shift there?
it's a blessing that we live in this area for how beautiful it is and how great it is. We also have really strong colleges, medical, all these things that make a community great.
Environmental,
so
politically,
what's the challenge for us in Western Massachusetts is where there were price drops in other markets and things like that, we always stay high.
Yeah.
And with the last COVID thing, our prices have just gone up again. So that has become a big challenge, is that entry into homeownership, right? That price. And that's just a side effect of being such a great area to live, right? We are starting to see a shift. We're seeing more sellers come on. Obviously, there's still fear of what's going to happen with the mortgage rates. But, I always, and I'm sure you probably feel the same, mortgage rates were what? 10 years ago, they were in the 5.5%, 6%. So I think 5.5% to 6%
kind of normalized
is where they should be. 2 or 3% wasn't really sustainable.
That was free money.
That created problems.
Exactly.
So I think we just need the consumers to understand, sellers to understand that this is where we really should be, I think, interest-wise. And for the renters out there who are saying, I'm going to wait for they drop, you're paying 100% mortgage on your rental. You get no equity, no value. So 5, 6, 7, 8% is still a better deal than renting. Financially,
which is 100%.
Which which is 100%. 100% of your money is going towards interest, essentially. Homes, they are more expensive in our area, but that's equity. That's money that we're putting back into that, and they're only going to keep going up because we live in such a beautiful area where we never see the downside of real estate because it's such a desirable area.
Even in the housing crash, we didn't see that. The huge fluctuations that other parts did.
We've got so many great jobs and stuff in our area, and all the education in our area. So we're not going to see the drops. So it's still a good investment.
And you're doing the part by creating more inventory through the renovation and restoration and all of that. Where do you see the greatest potential there as far as property type or price range? Is there something, if a new investor was listening right now? Because I get a lot of calls from usually I love the young people that I can say that now because 35, right? 23-year-olds call. They're young, which is awesome. And they want to flip houses because that's the buzz. Right.
It's not for the faint of hearted. There's definitely opportunity. There's big ups and there's big downs. We do it a little bit differently. We're not looking at our home investments and our flips as big money makers. We're typically buying a little bit higher. And again, I'm using it to help keep our maintenance people busy. And then we're also looking to use those homes through Leo's Home either as an affordable option. We work again with a lot of the local nonprofits, and we'll send a house out to the local nonprofits before we even put it to the market, and say, hey, we've got this house that could be a good income qualifying because we're willing to sell it for a little bit less. For me, it's a break even to bring value to the other things that we do. But there's absolutely things. If I'm an investor and I'm a developer, right now we need first-time home buyer houses.
Definitely.
During COVID, and I'm sure all the other realtors would see this as well. During COVID, we had a lot of people in homes. They were trapped in their homes. They said they wanted to get to a bigger home. We saw interest rates go up. We saw building materials go up. So that transition from a first-time home buyer home to that next, the family home where they need a few more bedrooms, we weren't able to make those because that leap was so much more expensive. So we saw a lot of people with those first-time homebuyer houses starting to do additions, which again drove up cost of materials. Everywhere you drove around during COVID and just after COVID,
people
you saw additions.
All sorts of work on their house.
So our inventory of first-time homebuyer houses has completely vanished. Really, a lot of those homes have been turned into medium homes. So we really need those. And at the cost of building right now, I mean, it's $300, $400, $500, $600 a square foot to get into an entry-level home. So if we've got investors and developers out there, that's what we need. We need first-time home buyer houses right now, big time.
Have you ever thought of developing houses at all?
We're trying, but we also, again, one of the challenges of our area is we do have a lot of small towns with small government,
really strict zoning,
or they're with some very strict zoning, and not that vision to change it. We've seen some great stuff from the state. They've pushed through the ADUs and trying to add auxiliary dwellings on properties. I have an apartment above my garage. That's a huge part for me to be able to put my family in the home that we're in right now, which again, still small, 3-bedroom ranch. But it gave me that income to be able to have that home.
Sustain it.
As
That's
well.
huge.
So,
the infill. I know, and it's tricky because people understand that there's a need for housing, but then there's also that not in my backyard kind of mentality too that I think happens. And it's that balance, because as you started out saying, housing is so interconnected with everything else in the community and how people do and how the community thrives or doesn't. And so I think there's a little bit of that crossroads happening now here, which is how do we have enough housing inventory that's viable and sustainable. And what I love what you've done with your whole, I keep calling it an umbrella, sorry if that's not the,
no, it works.
But you're really in each of those different avenues. So buying and selling, maintenance, property management, and then the nonprofit too. That's huge.
And I think it's really helpful for us to be in all of those, because we get a feel of all the stuff that's going on. We can make better decisions. We can make better decisions on our real estate side of things for our company, and our agents can make better decisions and have more value to clients, because we can service them in a couple different areas. All of our clients, again, the maintenance side of things is, again, almost a break even to bring that value. So our flipping and our maintenance and all of that is really just to bring value and to make homeownership easier and more affordable and attainable.
How's the rental market doing?
It's starting to slow a little bit.
Okay.
I just ran some reports actually yesterday in Northampton, and we're seeing like 2-bedroom, 1-bath, which is the most common apartment. Actually starting to drop down a little bit, back into like the 17, 18, 1900 range. But the big thing with rentals right now is the change with the law on the expense, which I think is phenomenal. This has been something I've pushed for years. Is that when a tenant shouldn't have to pay a fee to the landlord because the landlord hired someone to advertise and
that
push
was a
their
big
market.
change.
Made no sense to me. I think now we're in a position where we can now shift that more towards a real estate transaction, which goes well. You have a listing agent or someone who's representing the landlord, and then you have if a tenant wants to hire someone to help them go through the apartment process, now they can do that and they can have that control. So no more first month's, last month's security and a real estate fee. I mean,
so the landlord has to pay for that now.
Now a landlord has to pay.
That's a big shift.
Yeah, huge shift, and something I think was needed. I think it's unreasonable to ask a tenant to pay 4 months essentially. And you're also now having to work with someone that you didn't get to pick. So just like in real estate where we've separated those transactions, that's happened in apartments. So it's all over the place right now, though. We don't really know what the long-term look of that will be. We represent about 1,600 doors between condos and rentals in the area. And we've got some landlords who totally think it's the right thing to do. They're hiring one of our agents to be a leasing agent to advertise and market that property. And we have some that don't want to pay that, and you've got some smaller property management companies that are absorbing some of these landlords that still don't want to pay. But, but we're going to have to expect that rent might go up. So, landlords are very important and vital in our area. Sometimes they get a bad rap, especially in Massachusetts, but they're providing housing for the people who can't get into that homeownership. So,
and I think statistically in our area, we have the majority of landlords are more individual owners rather than, there's not these huge companies and corporations necessarily.
And they're making a big risk and an investment. And like anyone, if you don't invest money unless you expect to get a return. So you have to make a little bit more. And with the mortgage prices, rent did skyrocket quite a bit. It's starting to settle and come down now because there's less demand for it, supply and demand. So I think the rental market has stabilized, and I think we're seeing the real estate market stabilize as well. We're seeing longer days on market, less offers. And I think if we can get more sellers to get active in the market and understand it's a good time to sell right now, I think it'll be good for everybody. Get the housing market back again.
That's huge. Well, I'm glad you were here. I want to run through just some quick icebreaker questions to kind of wrap us up. So some of these are a little bit silly, a little bit softer, a little bit, nothing crazy that I'm going to throw at you. So what is your earliest memory of actually owning a home?
Well, so this is actually going to bring us to Leo's Home. So, and which is why I named our nonprofit Leo's Home, which is for my son Leo. So I've been in real estate my whole life. My mother started this brokerage when I was 4 years old, back in 1985. My first properties I bought were investment properties. Actually, when I lived in Worcester, I bought a multifamily because that's, I think, the smartest way to get into home ownership. So I never owned it myself. My first single family home that I ever owned myself was when I found out we were having Leo. We renovated the house, got it all ready. Literally the night we moved into the house, Kristen went into labor and we had Leo. So I never owned a home by myself without Leo.
Until-
So Leo was my reason for home.
Yep.
And why I wanted to own a home.
Yep.
And that's why Leo's home, I think, is so important to help other people find the reason why they want home.
Yeah.
And then we want to help people achieve that goal.
Yeah.
So
I had chills when you
I
said that. You went
still
into
have
labor
goosebumps.
that very night.
I know.
Oh my gosh. What's one thing about home ownership you wish more people understood?
That it's easier than you probably think, and I think that's why we've built the tools that we've done, is to help people.
Yeah.
You're gonna have furnaces that are gonna go out. There's gonna be challenges,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of fantastic contractors and people in our area that can help you get through that. And your agents, people like Home Manage, our subscription program.
Yeah.
Those are all avenues to make that easier.
Yep.
And then also understand that. Again, back to the mortgage rates.
Yeah.
These are the rates that they should be.
Right.
And it's a much better investment than investing.
Yeah.
Again, back from that event that I was at in Texas, we talked about the generational wealth, and I actually looked at I talked to an economic.
Yeah.
Oh God, what are they called?
Economist?
Economist. Thank you. I spoke with an economist a few months ago at a convention, and he showed a graph, and it was eye-watering. The generational wealth of a family who owns a home is 200,000 plus.
Wow.
The generational wealth of a family who rents is under $1,000.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you're
that's
looking for
unbelievable.
long-term wealth, education,
Yeah.
and it's not even wealth.
Yeah.
It's not, people who own homes aren't just rich.
Right.
It's about taking the money that you are earning
Stability.
and putting it back into your home,
Yeah.
and that becomes your piggy bank.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the wealth. Wealth is what you have in assets. And
Right
now, if you own a home, that's
Yeah.
your biggest and best asset
Yeah.
for long term, so that if you buy that first house and then you have kids, and you're at that point where they're ready for college, now you have that 200,000 you would have wasted on rent. Now you have that available to you to help with education, so it furthers education. So
Stressing me out about paying for college
I
already.
know, my Leo's 4. I've already started saving.
Isn't it unbelievable? Yeah, but you're completely right. So speaking of how homes are so special, what is your favorite room in a house? Do you have one?
That's tough for me. Like,
Or
I
when you
love
show
like
properties?
my kind of like thing I love to do just to relax is cook.
Okay.
Which most people don't see that in me,
Yeah.
but I truly love to cook. I grew up an Italian
Oh, that's
grandmother
awesome.
who made spaghetti sauce by scratch, and that's really important to me. And Leo
Yeah.
has really taken a love to cooking.
Yeah.
Literally right before we came here, he's homesick. We baked a cake before we came here because he watched Is It
Yeah.
Cake on Netflix, so
Yeah.
he wanted to make a cake. So
That's so
I think
cute.
the kitchen's probably my favorite room because
Yep.
in my house I put a big island in it. That was one thing I wanted, and we all sit around there. And
That's awesome.
most of the time when I have people at my house, it's to cook and
Yeah.
to eat,
Socialize,
and
be
to
together.
be together, and for family.
That
So
community.
kitchen is definitely my favorite room in the house.
That's awesome. So this extreme vision you had, and it's happening, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is not a vision; it's here. You're doing it, and we connected various times over the last 5 or 10 years,
Yeah,
right? And
of course.
it's just been so cool to see that happening. What do you think is the number one thing that kept you focused on actually bringing that vision into reality?
Leo's home, 100%.
Yeah.
This idea that we want to be someone in the community to help people achieve homeownership.
Yeah.
Again, I will forever be thankful for that Coldwell Banker convention in Texas when he talked
That's
about the
awesome.
importance of community. So,
Yeah.
everything we've done has been for that.
You really took that and ran with it.
We totally did. I mean, we had these huge visions. I still remember
Yeah.
sitting around with Pam and Rick, and our long-term vision is to have concerts at the fairgrounds and raise money. And at that time, it was mostly focused on trying to achieve a lot of income to be
Yeah.
able to help people buy houses.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the best direction for us right
Right.
now. Our goal is to help people maintain
Be there.
ownership.
Yeah.
That's just as important.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
With the home flipping side of things, I get phone calls all the time, and I show up at a house, and it's a 80-year-old man who just lost his wife.
Yeah.
And he's literally, I went to one house, there was 45 cans of beans lit on the counter because
Oh
that's
my
all he knew
gosh.
to do.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to cook. His
that's
wife
so
took care of
terrible.
him. So we're at this generational thing right now, which is so different than our generation, where you really needed that.
Yeah.
The husband wife,
Right.
that was such an integral part to survival
Yeah.
for a lot of these elderly people.
Yeah.
So I go through these houses and I see them falling around people.
Yeah.
So that's bad, for a lot of reasons. We want to be able to get in there, help them get a fair price for that
Yeah.
house, help them get to that next chapter.
Right.
Or we want to maybe not buy it, like in
Right.
the Wendy's case.
Right.
We'll go in maybe and say, let us help you maintain this house.
Yeah, right.
And that's what we did for Wendy. We brought the value of that
And
property
then
up
she
for
could
Wendy.
decide when she was ready.
Now she's got a bigger
That's
nest
huge.
egg to go to that next property, and we've got
Yeah.
a home that's in better shape.
Yeah.
So you talked about driving around and seeing some of the houses that are in rough shape.
Right.
We want to try to fix that. We want
Right.
to keep those houses in good shape, keep the inventory higher, because that's
Yeah.
all we need. We just need inventory.
Yeah, definitely.
To drop down pricing.
Yeah,
So the more we can
100%.
do to
Supply and demand.
yeah, the more we
Yeah.
can do to help improve the inventory is a good long-term solution.
Well, that's
so
awesome.
So that convention in Leo's home is really what helped us
So that's just been there.
build all of this.
And
yeah.
it's here. So congratulations. That's
Thank you.
huge.
Appreciate it.
You've been doing so much. And thank you also for all you do anyway in the community, right? Because you're always
Yeah, we
giving
try
back,
to.
not just through Leo's Homes, but
Yeah.
other places too.
Yeah,
so.
we have a policy in our real estate company that if there's 2 people that want to do an event, we will fund it.
You'll make it happen.
So as long as we have got 2 or 3 real estate agents who want to do an event or a table here, or,
Yep.
whatever it is,
You'll be there.
We'll be there to support them because we
Good to
want to
know.
give back.
Next committee I'm on, I'm going to make sure I get at least 2 of your agents to want to do it, and then we'll go to you.
And you're good to go. Absolutely.
So last question, perfect segue.
Yeah.
Any community event, organization, small business, anything you want to shout out today?
Ooh, as like just a thank you, or
Yeah, or anything.
well, I'm more in electric. I mean, he's the most recent one.
Awesome.
He started at a family business, and he went off, started his own company
That's
4 or
great.
5 years ago. Now they've got 3 trucks working in South Deerfield. One of the
Wow.
nicest guys I've ever met in my life.
Awesome.
And he's always the first one to jump and say, "How can I help?"
Yeah.
And he does phenomenal work.
Oh, that's great.
So that would be if
More
I had
in
to give a
electric.
plug,
We'll
that
have to
would be
tag
it.
him.
More in
Awesome.
electric.
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you so much for being here and chatting with us today.
Of course,
I
always a
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thanks everybody for tuning in today to Real People Real Estate, where we chat with real people right here in Western Massachusetts who are doing awesome things in the community. And if you are inspired and want to be a guest on this show, be sure to message me. I'd love to have you on. We'll see you in a couple weeks.